Okay, so who may grant probation? O, sino man nag-grant? O, tandaan, minsan, ang tanong dyan, tao. Okay, pag who at magkahiwalay ang trial judge at trial court, then go for the trial judge. Okay, basta take note, common sense ang gamitin. Pag who, tao. Okay? So, if ever wala naman binanggit na who, minsan ginagan, granted, o lagay mo, granted, yan, probation granted by walang who, edi go for the trial court, di ba? Okay, ito kasi who, kaya ano kayo, required kayo sumagot ng tama. Tao. So, trial judge. Okay? So, Mr. Chaps is the husband of the former probationer who disappeared from their house. Mr. Chaps insists to be involved in looking for his wife. Which of the following is the best response ng pulis? Ano yung best response ng pulis? Okay? So, pag sabi dyan, he go to the DSWD for assistance, mali. Ang pinag-usapan natin sa pulis. The case is closed and no help, mali yan. Huwag ganon. Okay, kahit paano mang uto, di ba? Pag mga ganyan, o sige, iwan mo muna sa amin ng kaso at kapag mayroong mga progress, inform ka na lang namin. Huwag nyo, consult nyo yung probation officer, mali yun. Okay, kasi bakit hindi pwedeng bakit hindi pwede yung probation officer? Kasi former probationer na. So ibig sabihin tapos na yung kanilang relationship. Ang masama niyan, yung wife niya sumama sa probation officer. Patay, wala na. Ang tawag doon na develop. Okay? So, leave the case to the police and if there's development, he will be informed. Ito, which of the following is done by the court if the condition set forth violates? Maliwan tanong, violates probation. And prove that it is intentionally violate the condition. Sagot natin dito. Ikaw judge ka. Ano i-issue mo? Ayun, very good. It should be, the court will issue revocation order to probation and he will have to serve the original sentence. Okay? Yan. So, next. The community service is punitive. Pag sinabing punitive, anong nasa utak natin? Sige nga, punitive. Pag sinabing punitive, ano nasa utak nyo? Punishment. Very good. That is a punishment. Yan. So, allowed to do something construction, punishment ba yun? Hindi. Happy siya dyan. Masaya yan. No? Restrict in movement and time until the work is completed. So, required ka tapusin muna. Malungkot ka dyan. To give the opportunity to gain esteem. Aba, pwede yan. Masaya. Afforded more times with his family. Masaya din yan. So, alin yan yung malungkot dyan? Yung i-restrict ka. Yung galaw mo, restricted siya. So, tapusin mo muna hanggang makumpleto. Ayun yung isa sa mga punishment. Okay, so 103 is delta. Court will issue revocation order. Guys, sa mga naghahanap ng notes, di ba? Sa mga naghahanap ng notes, i-backread nyo lang yung GC nyo. Nandun na lahat yung notes. Ang send ko nilang mamaya is yung criminal law. Yun na lang send ko mamaya, yung criminal law. Basta lahat ng notes, i-backread nyo sa pinaka-umpisa, nandoon lahat yun. Mga siyam yata yun, i-download nyo. Pa-print nyo kagad yun para bukas. So, next. Next. Mr. Chaps committed a treason. Okay, committed a treason during war between the Philippines and China. Is he qualified for probation? Siyempre, the answer is no. Bakit no? Kasi it is crimes against national security. Okay, so ayan yung mga expected nyong matatanong sa inyo. Yan. Who among the following convicted drug user or rather drug pusher may place under probation? O mga drug pusher. John, who is first-time offender. First-time offender. Third-time offender. Second-time offender. O parang pare-pares naman yun eh. Kasi drug pusher, di ba? Di ba? Pag drug pusher, bawal. Ano lang pwede natin sa probation? Section 12, 14, 17, 57, and 70. Yan lang naman ang pwede sa probation. Okay? Wala nang iba. Ayun, very good. So, ang sagot natin dyan, none. What is referred to as withdrawal? O, pag sinabing withdrawal, o hindi yan yung magjowa, Hindi yan yung magjowa. So, the privilege of probation, ano yan? Binawi. Ibig sabihin, binawi. Binawi. Yan. So, hindi naman commutation. Kasi pag commutation, that is a reduction. Reduction of sentence from longer to shorter. Okay? Tanggal na rin ang retaliation and suspension. The right answer is revocation. Binawi muna. Mr. CHAPS, convicted of the crime, carries 8 years and 1 day. As a probation officer, will you recommend CHAPS for probation, yes or no? Ayun, the answer is no. Dalawang no. Aling no dyan? Because it's exceed maximum. Uy, pwede to, tama to. Because no probation will be granted if there is, wala, ang layo ng dahilan mo dito. Sasagot natin dyan, that is a no, alpha. Next, when will you close probation case? Kailan natin isasara ito? When? Probation case. When occurred probation abscond the place? Hindi pa. When occurred violation? Hindi pa. When there is recommendation? Ay, wala pa. Dapat hanapin nyo yung dalagang absolute na. When termination order is approved. O, tapos na laban. Okay, pag ganun, tapos na. Okay? Yan. Next. Yan, when determination is approved. What document be submitted to the court by probation officer that will be used as a basis for the decision? Okay, used for the basis for the decision. Anong dokumento daw ang sinasubmit sa korte na isang probation officer? Basis. Alin dito? Tanggal na pre-parole, di ba? Pre-executive, tanggal na. Ang pre-parole sa parole kasi ito, di ba? Sa parole to eh. Ang pre-executive sa pardon. Alin dito? Yung alpha o delta? Sige nga. Yan, dokumento. Ito, ano to eh, ginagawa to eh. Ayun no, di sagot natin dyan, that is post-sentence investigation report. Dokumento tinatanong, hindi investigation, okay? So may nabiktima pa din, madala naman kayo. Pag mga ganyan may tanong ha. Yan, madadala ha. Iintindihin nyo, dokumento na yun, ilang beses ko na inikot-ikutan, no? Okay? So next, what happened to probation when you court withdraw? Oh, take note na, withdraw na naman, oh. Is privilege for probation, binawi, oh. Release to community, hindi. Is placed under parole, hindi. Is placed under police custody, hindi. Ano mangyayari? Babalik ka sa kulungan mo at serve mo yung, ano sinaserve niya? Ano serve niya? Ano po isa-serve niya? Pag binalik sa kulungan, original sentence. Okay, original sentence tayo dyan. So, sagot natin sa 111 delta. Original sentence. Next. All data gathered about probation. Yan, tignan nyo ha. All data gathered probation shall be treated as what? O yung mga dokumento, ayun, shall be treated, ayun, confidentially. Yan, very good. Confidentially. Next. What is the effect? Uy, effect daw, oh. What is the effect of recommitment? Ano yung recommitment? Anong recommitment? Sige nga. Kailangan yung analyzation nyo, yung comprehension. Ano yung recommitment? Do again. Ayun, very good. Ibalik. Balik kulungan. Balik kulungan. Okay? So, ano effect pagbalik kulungan ng probation? He will have served the remaining portion of sentence. Saan to? Yung he will serve the remaining portion of sentence. Saan to? Ito yung mga recommitted paroli. Committed paroli. Yan. He will serve the remaining portion of the maximum sentence. Tanggal. Minimum sentence. Ano itong minimum sentence? Ano itong minimum sentence? Ito po yung requirements for parole. So, ang sagot natin yan, he will serve the original sentence of imprisonment. Yeah, very good. Need to be served before parole. Very good. Next, the rule and methods employed by probationer. What is the maximum number of minor violation? O ilan ang pinakamaraming minor violation bago daw na i-revoke natin? Pag minor violation, then that is tantamount for 5. How about major violation? 3, very good. Ito naman pag major violation. Yan. Ba yan? Major violation. Okay? So next. In general, marami nagkakamali dito. Who is the ultimate beneficiary of probation law? Who is the ultimate beneficiary of law? Yan. Kapag mga ganyan, check nyo, ano tong ultimate? What do you mean ultimate? Ang state. Anong pinaka? Anong pinaka? Pag pinaka, atmos yun. Pag pinaka. Oh. Immediate, madali. Mataas, tsapap yan tol. Huli. Diba? Huli, kaya nga diba, minsan may pain mga ganun, huli. Diba? Huli. Ito, huling nyo na. Huling ultimate nyo na to. Huli. Diba? Huli. Huli. Or last. O, in general, sino ang huling nakikinabang ng probation law. Oh, ayun, ang huli na ikinabang dyan, the government. Okay? Pero pag ang tanong sa inyo, most beneficiary, and most beneficiary, okay, lahat na ikinabang niyan, lahat society. Take note. Society. Pag pinaka nakikinabang, yung tinatawag nating society. Okay? Pero kung ang tanong sa natin dito is yung beneficiary of amnesty. Beneficiary of amnesty. Sino yung beneficiary amnesty? Ayun, very good. That is a political offender. Very good. Okay? So, ito yun, no? Yung board question, no? PAC. Most beneficiary sa probation, ayun, answer, society. Board question niya, no? Diba? Ang galing, di ba? Next. It refers to those that handle o mahawak ng investigation of petitioner for probation and supervision of probationer. Paroli and pardoni. Ano sagot natin dito? Ayun, very good. That is parole and probation administration. Okay? Anong ano natin dito? Ano yung other, yung talagang pinapangalan ng PPA? It should be DOJ-PPA. Very good. Ang galing Okay, huwag niyo kakalimutan yan Next, those that have been once on probation, under probation law, nabigyan ka ng probation, nabigyan ka na ng probation. Ano ang tanong natin? Qualified ka pa ba o disqualified na? Tapos ano ka ulit? Ayun. Are disqualified to apply. So, isang beses lang siyang binibigay. Ang probation, only once lamang po binibigay yan. Next. This is the report. Report na naman. That shall be submitted to the court if probationer violates probation condition. Okay? Ano yung final report? Para saan yung final report? Pag nag-comply siya. Okay? If he complied, final report. Then, after non-termination order na. Ito na yung laya na. Laya na talaga. Revocation, bawi. Yan. Bawi. So, sagot natin yan, that is a violation report. Very good. Gagaling nyo naman Mga panlaban na kayo. Okay, so next. All except one is not aim of community service under voluntary submission program. Accountability on the part of offender, pwede. Competence development, pwede. Community protection, pwede. Ito, recreation program, saan to? Sige nga, saan yan? Yun, very good. Sa loob yan ng jail. Sa loob po yan ng jail or prison. Okay, so therefore, that is a delta. Di ba? Yung mga common sense nyo, gumagana na, di ba? Okay. So, ito. Yan ito may bago na tayo dito Ito kasi luma to, old question. Ito old. A parole or pardoni upon release from prison through parole or pardon shall immediately report of a supervising probation and parole officer immediate upon release. Parole tsaka pardoni. Ano yung pinaka na natin dito? So luma pa rin to Yan di ba? Luma pa to, old. This is an old question. Okay, old question pa ito. So, ano yung amendment na natin ngayon? Kapag report niya immediately, okay? At hindi pa siya nag-report, binibigyan siya ng another 15 days para bumalik. Okay? Ito kasi guys, ang 120, that is an old question. So, take note nyo ito guys, ha? Take note. Next, it is an intervention activity. Yan. Whereby any drug dependent or any person violates Section 15 of RA 9165 either by himself, through his parents, spouse, guardian, relative, within 4th degree consanguinity, shall apply to the board. Siyempre, tanggal ito. Ito, mga report ito. Tanggal to. Kasi ito, activity to eh. Di voluntary submission program. Okay, if in case sa voluntary submission program, ang ginagawa mo dyan, dinadala mo sa rehabilitation yung yung taong ito. Okay, halimbawa, tatay mo, nanay mo, kuya mo, kapatid mo, anak mo, adik, dalin mo siya. Yan, no? So sabi mo sa kanya, oh, sige na, punta ka na lang dyan. At after 6 months naman, may probation ka naman na. Magbago ka na ha. Yan. Diba? Degree? Anong degree? Mga degree. Okay. So, 3rd degree. Burn. Okay. So, yan na. Ay tayo dito. Ito. Simulan natin ang mo. Ikaw ito ha. Ikaw. Anak. Halimbawa si Jendat. Si Jendat ay anak. Anak. Ito si Jendat, anak. Yan. Tapos si si Lilit. Yan, Lilit. Si Lilit ang nanay. Nanay. Tapos ang nanay ni Lilit si Sarah. Si Sarah. Yan. Ano yan? Nanay ni Lilit. Yan, bali lola na siya. Lola. Okay? So, tapos, yung si Sarah, may anak pa. Sino yung anak? Sino bang magandang anak na to? Sino pa? Sino to? Sino to? Mga si na lang siguro, si Maria, si Katya. Si Katya. Si Maria Katya. And si Katya. Yan. So, ibig sabihin, magkapatid si nanay at saka si Katya. Yan ha. Tapos, ito, si Katya, may to, ang anak niya si Camille. Yan. Tapos si Jendat, may anak na. Sino anak ni Jendat? Si Bundat. Si Bundat. Okay, anak niya yan. Anak niya. Okay, tapos yung isa, yan, sino yan? Rastaman. Sino kaya? Okay, Marvin na lang to, Marvin. O Marvin. Yan. Okay. So, simulan natin si Jendat. Ibayin natin yung kulay. Si Jendat, kay Jendat tayo mag-umpisa, Jendat. Si Jendat yan eh. Jendat. Yan. So, ngayon, si Jendat may nanay. Si Lilit. Okay, Jendat to nanay, that is a 1st degree. 1st degree, ascendant. Okay? that is a first degree ascendant. Then Jendat to Sarah, first degree, second degree. Yan. Jendat to Sarah, second degree. Okay? Ascendant. Okay? So, si Jendat, may anak. Si Bundat. Yan ang first degree descendant. Okay? Si Jendat, may anak yung anak niya. Ito si Marvin, pak, second degree descendant. Okay? So ngayon, Jendat to Katya, 1, 2, pantay naman sila. Pantay ito. Eh di lang to. Lilith, first degree, Sarah, second, kay Katya, third degree. And kung ito talagang sariling dugo nila, third degree consanguinity. By blood. Okay? Yung yung anak ni Katya, yan, di ba sila? That is a fourth degree. Yan, fourth degree na yan. Kuha? Hello, kuha nyo? Nagets ba? Nagets? Okay? So, pag niyong inahana, naman, sino pala yung sino pa pala yung Katya? Pati tayo dyan. Okay. Sige, tol. Ay, may exam bukas. Ay, okay. Sige. Yan. It is a conditional release. Conditional release after the prisoner, the spinal and executory. Okay? So, tropa, hangad namin na ikaw ay pagpalain ng ama, ha? Gawin mo ang lahat ng mga kaya mo, tropa. Ipasa mo yan. Papasa ka. Okay? So, has already served the minimum. Okay, ano sagot natin dyan? Parol, word of honor, parol dinner, probare. Sagot natin. Ayun, very good. That is a parol. Okay, that is a parol. Okay, yan na. So next, the form of conditional release granted after prisoner has served served portion, Pak, yan mismo yung tanong sa board, Nasagot natin dito. Ayun, that is a parol pa din. O, diba? Walang kahirap-hirap yung parol. Basic na basic eh. Next, it refers to report submitted by the probation and parole officer ng PPO on violation committed by parolee and pardonee of condition of his release on a parole condition while under supervision. Ano sagot natin dito? Yung natin, parolee tsaka pardonee. May ginawang kasalanan. Okay, that is infraction. Yung progress report, ayan yung behavior mo during supervision. Pag status report naman, ayan yung mga pending cases. How about summary report? Ayan naman po yung pag nag-comply ka. Eh diretso na summary report yung final release and discharge, di ba? Pagkatapos ng summary report, final release and discharge na, di ba? Okay, so very good. Yan. Is the governor superintendent in Norfolk Island in the east of Australia initiated the famous mark system and system of moral reform. Ano pa other term nito? Ang other term pa nito ay yung tinatawag na progressive humane system. Okay? Progressive humane system. So, sino yung tao na to? He. Di wala nang iba kundi si Alexander Maconochie. Kay Walter Crofton, anong ginawa nito ni Walter Crofton? Yung kanyang Irish system. Other term is progressive humane system. Progressive humane system. Ay, walang humane yan. Wait lang. Yan. Teka lang ha. Try natin. Napasobra sulat ko. Progressive system. Okay? Sige, banat. Okay? So, Savage, kilala nyo na to si Savage. Okay, kilala natin lahat yan. So, ang sagot natin yan si Alexander Frederick Maconochie. Yan. Ito si James Cook, oh. An English explorer who circumvented, ibig sabihin, umikot. Okay, umikot siya, no? Siya yung nag-travel. Nag-travel sa buong mundo, world, oh. And pioneer exploration of New Zealand and east of Australia. Then, pagdating doon, nung makarating sila sa Australia, nagtayo sila ng penal colony. Okay? So, take note yan, ha? Ayan yung pinag-usapan natin with regards sa tinatawag natin kay James Cook. Take note yan, si James Cook. Next, 126, ex-official chairperson of Board of Pardons and Parole. And sino yan? Sino yung chairperson? Ayun, very good. Secretary of Justice. Very good. Pag ang tanong sa atin, under the, yung bago, take note natin, ha? May bago na tayo dito. Under Executive Order. Yan. Aralin natin ito. Magandang topic din ito, eh. Magandang topic ito. Teka lang. Dito tayo. So, under Executive Order number 878.
Lagi, nasa amin na yung charger.
Executive Order 878. Na ang sabi daw dito, tanong sa inyo, sino yung chairman ng DPP? The answer will be under secretary. Okay? Pansin nyo dito, luma yung tanong. Kaya ginamitan pa siya ng ex officio. Ito ang keyword nyo kung isasagot sa Secretary of Justice. Pero kung ang tanong lang sa inyo, chairman ng DPP, undersecretary na. Take note yan, ha? Ay, 868 yan, sorry. Yan, 868. Isin natin. Pakiayos lang, no? Yan, 868. Yan, buti may nakaalala. Yan, 868. So, ngayon, may mga members. Sino mga members natin dito? Sino mga members? Sino mga members? Tandaan nyo yung trace. Okay? BS trace. So, yung B, member of the bar. And member of the bar. Mga maaaring abogado or yung presidente ng IBP, ng Integrated Bar of the Philippines. Ano pa? Sociologist. Sumunod, trained in correction. Sumunod, retired judiciary. Sumunod, ano yung A? Administrator. Administrator ng PPA. Sumunod, clergyman. Sumunod, educator. So, kung ang kung ang chairman is undersecretary, then the member, anong rank neto? Assistant secretary. Ang chairman, manunungkulan ng 6 na taon, 6 years, without prejudice to reappoint. Take note yan. 6 years without prejudice to reappoint. Pag secretary, assistant secretary, ganun din. 6 years din sila without prejudice to reappoint.
Ganda ko.
Okay? So, yan po yan. At meron pa, yung tinatawag natin ex officio member. Remember, si administrator yan, ha? Okay, so alam nyo na, if in case na bago ang itanong sa inyo, nakahanda lang kayo dyan. I-reserve nyo lang yan. Pero once na wala kang nakitang ex officio tapos sa chairman, atakihin mo na yan ng undersecretary. Sigurado updated ang nagtanong yan. Okay? Pero pag ex officio lang, then go for the ex officio chairperson, go for the DILG secretary. Okay na? So, next. Ayan. Ayan na. Try natin dito. Tanggalin nyo ito. Tanggal to, tanggal. O, tanggalin natin ito. O, sino sagot natin dito? Yan, chairperson of the BPP. Tanggalin nyo yan o tanggalin nyo yung ex officio. Ayun, very good. Ayan na, very good. So, ang sagot natin, undersecretary. Di ba? So, take note yan, ha? Yan, tingnan nyo, para makita nyo ng gusto, oh. Yan, ito siya. Yan. Executive 868, Series of 2000, headed by the chairman with the rank of undersecretary and shall be assisted by the 7 members with the rank of assistant secretary. Ayan yung mga batas. Yan. I-take nyo to. Screenshot nyo ito para isulat nyo sa notes nyo para alam nyo yan. Para kung hindi man kayo payagan ng cellphone, then at least walang problema, may notes kayong dala. Next. He is a person convicted of criminal. Person convicted of criminal waiving served minimum. Released from prison by the BPP. Nakatawa yan. Ayun. That is a paroli. Okay? Paroli. Yan. Pag client, lahat yan, tol. Tandaan niya, pag client ha, pag sinabing client, lahat yan, basta under supervision ang keyword natin. Client, under supervision yan. It is known as the ISLAW or indeterminate sentence law. ISLAW means that is a indeterminate sentence law. No. Which took effect on December 5, 1933. Ano tong Executive Order 83? Ano tong Executive 83? Series of 1937. Ito naman guys, yung para saan to? Ito yung nag-rename from Board of Indeterminate Sentence. Ano na pangalan niya? Board of Pardons. May S tayo dyan ha, Board of Pardons. At ang batas na to sabi dyan, to assist. Yan. To assist. To assist Chief Executive. Yan. To assist Chief Executive in executive clemency. Okay. Ang Executive Order number 94. Di ba? Ayan yung batas. Executive Order 94. From Board of Pardons, naging Board of Pardons and Parole na siya. Okay? Ang Executive Order 292, ayan naman po ang batas na ang ginawa si PPA, handa na, si PPA naging Parole and Probation Administration na. At kalaunan, naging DOJ-PPA. Okay? So, ang sugot natin dito guys, that is Act number 4103. Ito naman. All except one are the requisite to be eligible for parole cases. Dapat ba final conviction? Yes. Dapat ba maximum period of sentence exceed 1 year? Yes. Dapat ba serve ang minimum? Yes. So, ang sagot natin dyan, none of the above. Binigyan kayo ng senaryo. Sige nga, bigyan ko yung senaryo. Ito senaryo nyo, oh. Yan, ito senaryo. Si X, may krimeng robbery. Tapos, ang imprisonment niya ay 1 year. Sa parol, pwede ba siyang bigyan ng parol? Robbery, pwede sa parol? Yes. 1 year, pwede sa parol? 1 year, pwede sa parol? Hindi pwede. Disqualified yan. Okay. Ano ang dapat? Ano ang dapat dito? O, gayahin natin. X committed a crime of robbery with imprisonment of 1 year and 1 day. Robbery pwede? Yes. 1 year and 1 day? Yes, pwede. Doon siya qualified. Dapat lagpas ka ng 1 year. Huwag kang papasok, sir. Anto, sir, ask ko lang po, sa board exam ba may none of the above na tamang sagot? Yan. Depende, sabi walang tanong na. Okay, ganito yan. Hanggat maaari, iwasan ang sumagot ng none of the above. Yung mga nota, yan. Nota tawag ko dyan eh. None of the above. Hanggat maaari, iwasan. Okay, hindi lahat ng tanong sasagutan yung nota. Okay, mas maganda pa rin talaga mga tropa, intindihin. Intindihin nyo yung tinatanong. Yun lang talaga. Yun ang pinaka-best way. Okay? Eh kung nandun naman talaga yung ano, tamang sagot, di ba? Hanapin yung pinakamas, kung wala yung tamang sagot, pinakamalapit. Okay? So next. Yan, tama. Last resort na lang yun. Sumunod. Ang dami naman na ito. The supporting document or absolute pardon and or the petition for absolute pardon shall accompany the following except. Okay? Ito, underline nyo na kagad ito ha. Mga chupapi, underline ha. Kailangan natin ng affidavit at least 2 responsible member of the community. Take note. Isa yan sa kailangan nyo. Yan, tsatsagain nyo lang yan. Partially at absolute. Absolute lang, no? Walang partially, mga ganun. Pangalawa, clearances. NBI, PNP, prosecutor, MCTC. Yan. Ano pa? Proof of payment of indemnity. Yan. At proof of service. Yan. Proof of service kapag merong final release and discharge. So, letter E, huwag niyong isagot yan. Walang pakialam sila sa GCTA mo. Wala silang pakialam sa GCTA mo. The answer is elepante. Okay? So, dahil wala silang pakialam sa GCTA, ang pakialam nila, mga chupapi, ang pakialam nila, yung ang behavior mo during supervision. Doon sila after. Pero GCTA sa kulungan, wala siyang pakialam. Bahala ka dyan. Sino pulit kukuha ng mga requirements na yan? Sino uli makukuha ng mga requirements? Maaari yun, yung pamilya mo kung may maglalakad. Yan, maaari kung yung pamilya mo may naglalakad. Or, kung masipag naman yung director, tutulungan ka niya. Yan ang kailangan nyo talaga dyan. May pamilya kang kahit pa paano maglalakad. No? Take note yan, ha? Home to apply for parole. Saan tayo mag-apply ng parole? Yan, home to apply for parole. Yan, kanino mag-apply ng parole? Ayon, kay chairman ng Board of Pardons and Parole. Very good, Kay BPP. Chairman. Okay? So, 131 kay chairman ng Board of Pardons and Parole. 132, all except one are the objective of the parole system by the Philippines, BPP. It is based on the people versus Dokusin. Yan. Standardize the penalty. Mamaya natin check yan. Individualized administrative criminal law. Maintaining and protecting social order. Tama, pwede. Yan. Individualized. So, kasama yan. Uplift and redeem valuable human material and economic useful. Tama. Prevent unnecessary and deprivation of liberty. Tama. Ano yung mali dyan? Yung standardize the penalty. Bakit? Bakit ganon? Kasi para sinasabi mo, kung halimbawa, ang robbery, ang kanyang minimum, halimbawa, robbery, ang kanyang minimum 6 years. Eh yung theft, so ipapares mo lang yan, theft din, 6 years lang din. Hindi pwede. Mas mababa ang klase ng theft kaysa sa robbery. Okay, hindi natin pwedeng basta-basta i-standardize yan. Para sinabi mo, dapat ito standard natin. Walang nalagpas, walang susobra. Ayun ang standard nyo. May basehan ka na, di ba? Hindi pwede yun. So that is a alpha. Next. Mr. CHAPS is a parole and probation officer. O, si CHAPS, parole and probation officer. Yung parole niya, nag-violate ng condition. Okay? Violate conditions. Set forth in the parole condition. Aba, may binayad ka ha. So, saan magre-report si CHAPS? Saan magre-report si CHAPS? Hindi pwede sa Bureau of Correction. Hindi pwede yung DOJ. Ayun, very good. Kay Board of Pardons and Parole tayo. That is a Board of Pardons and Parole. Next. The Director General of the Bucor has responsibility to forward all document of the petition to the BPP. Okay? Ilang days ang binibigay kay Director General ng Bucor? Ayun, 30 days. Galing ha? That is it, 30 days. Okay? 30 days. Ito kaya. Ito magkarugtong yan eh. Tingnan nyo. The Municipal City District Provincial Jail Warden has obligation to transfer to the Director General of the Bucor of all pertinent record of prisoner in jail within 30 days. Ba? So 30 days din siya, oh. 'Di ba? Sa Municipal, City, District, Provincial. Ta-transfer nila kay Director, binibigyan sila ng 30 days. The Director General shall submit to the board for its consideration within blank. Ayun, 15 days. Para hindi kayo malito, ganito yan. Okay, para iwas dito kayo. Kapag nag-originate sa kay Director General ng Bucor, lagi siyang 30 days. Tapos sasabit niya ngayon kay BPP. Pero pag nag-originate sa jail, papunta kay kay Director General ng Bucor, 30 days. Okay? So nandito na kay Director General. So from Director General to BPP, 15 days. Diretso na kay BPP yan. BPP. O yan ha. Huwag nyo kakalimutan yan ha. Yan. Wait lang. Saglit lang. Next. Eto na. Ay, nako. Okay. So, the board shall assess and determine whether the petitioner is qualified. So, the board shall determine and assess whether the petitioner is qualified for parole, and the decision must be supported by of the member of the BPP. Sige nga, anong sagot kaya natin dito? Ayan na sinasabi ko. Ayan na sinasabi ko. Ayan na. Ayun. Tumama. Majority. Okay? Pero kung wala si majority, pwede hanapin si at least 4 votes. Pero dahil si majority nandyan, then go for the majority. Okay? Kay majority tayo. Take note. Si majority ang sagot po dyan, ha? If in case na wala, ha? Ito lang take note natin. In case wala, si majority, then piliin si at least 4 votes. Okay? If in case na wala si majority, piliin si at least 4 votes. Kung magkakataon na wala ang majority. Pag nandiyan si majority, panalo yan. Next. Which of the following privileges means word of honor? Alin dito? Pag amnesty, ano means amnesty? Pag amnesty, ano ito? To forget. Okay? To forget. Okay? So, commutation, to reduce. Yan. Pag commutation, to reduce. Pag reprieve, to make back. Okay. Pag reprieve, ano to? To make back. Yan. So, ang sagot natin dyan ay ano? Yan, postpone. Ayun, very good. That is a parole. Okay, word of honor yan. So, take note nyo rin, etong amnesty, tatandaan natin, sometimes ang gamit ng examiner, an executive clemency has a public act. Ang gamit ng examiner, public act. Oh. Yan. This is a public act. Yan. Sometimes may oblivion din. Yan. Yan. Oblivion. Yan. Amnesia. Yan. Amnesia. Pero pag ang tanong sa inyo, general, di ba? General pardon. Di ba? General pardon. Eh, binigyan kang tanong, it is a private act. Sige nga. Pag tinanong sa inyo, private act. Ano sagot natin dyan? Ayun. That is a pardon. Yan. Okay. So, okay na tayo dito. If the petition or parole was granted, the BPP will issue a what? Ano issue? Or also known as discharge on parole. Ang sagot, ayun. May sumagot ng C. Ito yung tapos na. O, tapos na yan. Tanggalin na yan. Pamamarisan pa kayo eh. Termination order. Saan ang termination order? Pag termination order, kaya ano yan eh? Kay probation to eh. Okay, tanggal na yan. Oh. Baka may sumagot pa ng summary report yan. Ayawan na pag ganyan. Ano sagot natin? Ay yun, release document. Okay? So, next. Sir, pardon po ba yung act of grace? Alam mo yung act of grace? Pag sinabing act of grace, ito ay binibigay. Basta tatandaan yung act of grace. Lahat yan, mga act of grace. Yan, natatandaan na. Lahat yan. Lahat ng executive clemency as an act of grace. Diba, tingnan mo, pag executive clemency, lahat yan, act of grace. Executive clemency, ano yung Tagalog niyan? Awa ng Pangulo. Okay? Lahat yan mga act of grace. Act of grace of the President. Kaya depende ngayon yan paano itatanong sa inyo. O sample nito, tinanong, sasagot kayo titignan ko yung sagot niyo Yan. It is an act of grace granted by the President. Yan. It is an act of grace granted by the President to reduce the sentence. Sagot. Hoy! Ay, di ba? O next. It is an act of grace granted by the President to group of person who is committed political character. O, di ba? Next. It is an act of grace granted by the President to a 10 person who committed a rape and apply individually. Sige nga. It is an act of grace granted by the President. O yun, pardon, di ba? Okay. O ito pa. It is an act of grace granted by the President on his private act. Private act. Pardon. O next. An act of grace granted by the President for changing death penalty to life imprisonment. Wait, may reprieve daw. Patay. Death penalty to life nga or yan, binabaan. Okay, next. It is an act of grace by the President to remove communication Okay? Makinig muna. Sagot kayo na sagot It is an act of grace granted by the President to remove the criminal and civil liability of the offenders. Wala na. Patay. Tapos na laban pa ganyan. Makinig mo na, makinig kasi sagot kayo na sagot Ito, sumagot nan. Patay. GG yan. Ulitin natin Yan, ulitin natin. Yan. It is an act of grace granted by the President. Okay, magandang itanong sa inyo. To remove the criminal and civil liability ayun, amnesty. Very good dyan, amnesty. Diba? Dalawa tinanggal Diba? Kasi kapag pardon, criminal liability lang tinatanggal sa iyo. Okay? Ito pa, sample. Para aware kay lahat. It is an act of grace granted by the President that remove the criminal liability but not the civil liability. Pardon. Okay? It is an act of grace granted by the President without condition. Without condition. Absolute pardon. Okay? It is known as statutory reduction. Yan tanong sa inyo. It is known as statutory reduction. Very good. GCTA. Patay. Patay, wala na. Awit. GG. Awit. Yan ang sinasabi ko, masyadong masyadong 100% ang tinatanong. Okay. Lamok. Okay. Next, ito na naman tanong sa inyo. It is a constitutional reduction. Ang sagot niyan, that is a, Ibig sumagot to special time allowance. Commutation of sentence. Patay. Patay tayo dito. Patay, wala na. GG. Pag ganyan, GG. Wala na. O, diba? Kaya, ang tatandaan nyo, presence of mind. Okay? So, mag-ano kayo, ha? Wala, na-carried away kayo sa act of grace, eh. Nakalimutan nyo pala, di ba? O, sige. Makinig, ha? It is an act of grace that remove the criminal liability of a person. Only remove criminal liability of a person by the judge. Probation. Nasabi ko na nga sa inyo, eh. O, di ba? Kaya mag-iingat at mag-iingat kayo. Okay, so proceed tayo sa tanongan natin. Okay, so next. One of the mandatory, ito yung lumang question, no? Ito yung luma, old question. Take note, old question. Yan. One of the mandatory condition attached to parole, okay, is to report at least once a month. Okay, report at least once a month for those residing outside Metro Manila or NCR, or to report NCR at least twice a month. The statement is true. Okay, the statement is true. Okay? Okay? Upon the receipt of the report, the BPP may issue a blank against the parole. Oh, yung report against the parole. O sino mag-issue? Si BPP. Anong gagawin ni BPP? Ayun, very good. Order of arrest and recommitment. Okay? Yan. How about yung waiver commutation? Parang authorization letter lang yan. Diba? So, example nito, nanay mo ba pwedeng kumuha ng NBI clearance mo? Di ba hindi? Okay? Hindi pwede pag ganun. So, ngayon, bibigyan ka ng proforma na authorization or waiver of authorization, pipirmahan mo lang yan. Ang nakalagay doon, bibigyan mo ng kapangyarihan si PPO para makakuha ng mga record sa mga agency for the record checks. Yan ang purpose ng waiver authorization. So next, as a general rule, parole may not transfer residence stated in release document except if the petition for transfer of residence is approved by whom? Transfer of President. Sino mag-approve yan? Nako, may sumagot ng Board of Parts. Wala, tanggal to. Ayun, that is a regional director. It is the regional director. Okay? Eh, no? Transfer of Presidents approved by regional director. Okay, approved by regional director. Sa chief, yan, CPPO, Chief Probation and Parole Officer, may authorize outside travel is area of jurisdiction for a period of not more than 30 days. Very good, ah. Bagong-bagong rin to sa inyo to, ah. Pet malo kayo, ah. Ito. If a travel of parole, yan, travel ng parole is more than 30 days, so ibig sabihin pala, kapag not more than 30 days, si CPPO. Iba paano kapag ito more than 30 days na? Okay? It shall be approved by whom? Yun, very good. It is the regional director. Okay, gagaling ng mga tropa nito, ah. Maning-mani, ah. Ayan, no? Yan, no? Chief Probation Parole Client not more than 30 days. Kapag more than 30 days, then go approved by regional director. Ito kaya, ewan ko yan pag nasagutan nyo pa to, ah. A parole may work travel abroad. If he has no pending criminal case in any court, application for travel and work abroad shall be approved by the administration and confirmed by whom? Ayun, diyan papasok ang Board of Pardons and Parole. Okay, take note po yan. Next. Ayun, o. Parole given by the BPP grant it as a privilege to a qualified prisoner. Tama ba yan? Tama. Very good. It is true. Okay? Ang parole is a form just lang ng privilege. Ito kaya. The following are disqualifications of parole to be granted. Yan. Those who escape from confinement, evaded sentence. Tama ba yun? Those who escape from confinement, wala na bang parole yun? Disqualified na sa parole? Yes, disqualified na. May mga pending case? Yes, disqualified na. Those suffering, habitual delinquent? Yan. Those suffering from any mental disorder? Tama. Disqualify na. Those conviction is on appeal. Ayun, kasama lahat pala yan. So, ang sagot natin dyan ay A, B, C, D, and E. Okay? So, lahat pala yan ay kasama para i-disqualify natin yung ano. Eh, paano si Mr. X? Dagdagan pa natin siya. Nag-commit siya ng mga crimes ng mga plunder. Sama mo pa yung mga plunder, RA 7080. Wala na rin siya yan. Ano pa? Mga graft and corruption, RA 3019. Ano pa? Mga heinous crime. Yan, mga heinous crime. Saan nakalista ang heinous crime? Sige nga. Anong batas nakalista ang lahat ng listahan ng heinous crime? Yung batas para sa mga heinous crime. Sa mga, ayun, may hatol na kamatayan, oh. Ayun, RA 7659. Lahat na nakalista sa RA 7659, ipinagbabawal makapag-apply ng parole. Okay? Ano pa, mga yung mga crimes against national security, Yan, pinagabawal din po yan. Treason, yes, kasama din yan. Bawal yan. Sedition, kasama din po yan. Bawal din yan. Bawal din rebellion. Piracy, bawal yan. Kudeta, bawal yan. Okay? So, hindi lang crimes against national security, pati crimes against public order, bawal din yan. Okay, di ba? Swabe, di ba? So, next. It is exercised exclusively without the sound discretion of the President, preventing miscarriage of justice and correcting manifest injustice. Ano ang sagot natin dyan? Ay, ano pa? Sige nga natin. Sagot. Okay. That is a form of executive clemency. Next. This agency were authority to assist the chief executive in his exercise of the power to grant executive clemency as provided by the Executive Order 83 Series of 1937. Ang trabaho nila i-assist in terms of executive clemency. Sino siya? Ayun, si Board of Pardons and Parole. Kailan papasok si Department of National Defense? Si Department of National Defense, kailan siya papasok? In a crimes against crimes against national security. Dapat favorable recommendation ni DND Secretary. Commission and election in case of election violation. Omnibus, election code, or Batas Pambasa number 881. Yan. Department of Foreign Affairs, if in case mga alien, ang mga bibigyan natin, alien. Okay? So, board question. Tignan nyo, tanong ha. Who may initiate papers for deportation of a pardonee? Who may initiate papers for deportation of a pardonee? Yon, very good. Nakuha, Bureau of Immigration. Very good. The answer is Bureau of Immigration. Board question kasi yan. Okay, who may initiate paper of the deportation ng pardonee? Bureau of Immigration. Very good. Okay, take note ha. Yan. Next. Which agency is mandated to evaluate prisoners' fitness and qualification to be granted pardon for the parole pursuant to BP Resolution number 229. Yan. Sagot natin dyan. Ayun, very good. It is the what? Parang baliktad yung pangalan na to, no? Yan, parang parole and probation yan, ha? Baliktarin nyo lang yan. Parole and probation yan. Parole and probation administration. Next. There are 3 casework techniques applied by the parole officer. Which one is not? Alam nyo, ito common sense na. Yan, tignan nga natin. Okay. So, ayun, trick and treat technique pang November 1 yan. Trick or treat, di ba? Yan. Ang haba na ito, tol. Si Hanso ay nag-commit ng crime. Anong crime? Crime of robbery. Okay? With a penalty of prison mayor. Gaano kataas yung prison mayor? Sige nga. Gaano kataas yung prison mayor? Prison mayor, ha? 6 years and 1 day to 12 years, di ba? 6 years and 1 day to 12 years. Okay? However, bibigyan siya ng parol, pero granted naman. However, Hanso did and then violate and failed to comply with the condition set forth. Hanso was sent back to Bucor to serve the unexpired portion of the sentence. Can he avail again the privilege of parole? Yes or no? Tanggal na yung maybe. Pak. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Okay, the answer is yes. Okay? May nagtanong, sir, bakit? Okay. Ito na sumagot to. Yes. The board may consider the case of recommitted parole for the grant of the new parole after the latter shall have served 1/4 of the unserved portion of his maximum sentence. Sabi, ha? Paano yun? Ito yan. Huwag kayong bangag, ha? Relax lang kayo, ha? Yan na naman kayo, mga bangag na naman kayo. Halimbawa, si Hanso. Ano yung hatos sa kanya? 12 years na lang, 12 years. So, 12 years. Nung una, noong 2018, kunin natin ang minimum neto. Kunwari, ang minimum neto, 3 years. So, kinuha natin. Na-serve niya na yung 3 years. So, 3 years will be the minimum. Okay? Ilang years na lang yung unserved? Ilang years ang unserved? 9 years. Very good. So, 9 years unserved. So, ngayon, na-approve ngayon ang kanyang ang kanyang parole. Okay, na-approve ang kanyang parole. So, therefore, 2018, 19, 20, 21. So, approve na na-approve nung 2018, 19, 20, 21. Okay. Noong 2021, approve na ang kanyang parole. Approve. Parole granted. Ano ulit? Ilang years na nag-unserved? 9 years. Pak. So, ito na. Pagdating noong 2021, ay 2022 pala, naging makulit, nag-violate siya. So, ang kaso niya pa rin dito, yung robbery, robbery. Naging magulo siya sa buhay niya. So, napak, nasangkot sa away. So, dahil 2022, siya ay binalik sa kulungan, ilan isa-serve niya? 9. Very good. 9. Okay, 9 years. Kung ganyan lang din, nakipagsuntukan siya, ang sabi ng rule, pwede siya mabigyan ng another set ng parol. Same pa rin para sa crime niyang robbery. Wag lang ibang krimen. Ito napaaway lang naman. Walang nagsampa ng kaso. Sabi dito, doon pa rin kukunin saan? Dapat iserve mo muna ang 1/4 ng remaining. Yan na. Tignan nyo, yung 1/4 ng ano ang serve natin? Tignan nyo dito. Serve nyo ang 1/4 of the unserved portion of his maximum sentence. Okay? Kung ganyan ang tanong pala, ano ang 1/4 ng 9 years? Ano ang 1/4 ng 9 years? Sige nga. Hatiin natin sa 4 yan. 2.3. 2.3. 2.3, tama. Okay? So it will be 2 years and 3 months. I-serve niya po yan. Okay, serve niya uli para pwede na uli siya mabigyan ng new set of parole. Para naman yan sa mga recommitted parolee. Sir, if in case po, di ba, ang kaso niya robbery, tama? Tapos, nag-commit po siya ng murder. Di ba? Robbery, nag-commit po siya ng murder. Bibigyan ba siya ng parol? Bibigyan pa ba siya ng parol? Wala na. Ibang krimen na yan. Wala na. Tapos na yan. Okay, dito ka lang talaga bibigyan ng parol. Sir, paano kung nagkaroon siya ng mentally ill? Wala na. Bawi yan, tol. Babawiin yan. Di ba? Ano ang rule natin? Pag parol, dapat hindi siya mentally ill. Okay? Ilang beses makukuha ng parol? Isang beses lang. Isang beses lang siya. Pero in case ng recommitted parolee, meron tayo dito. Pero doon niya pa rin i-apply yan. Doon pa rin sa dati niyang crime. Pero pag may ibang crime na, bawal na. Ha? Sir, paano kung nag-violate uli siya doon? Wala na. Pag na-violate lang ang rule sa parol, pwede uli nag-commit ng another. Pag, isa lang ha. Pag na-violate lang ang rule sa parol, pwede uli nag-commit ng other crime. Wala. Oo. Yan. Yun yung sa violation. Diba? Pwede ka uli makakuha ng parol dyan. Pero kapag crime na iba, wala na. GG na yun, tol. Sir, paano kung nag-grant mo na yung probation? Pwede pa bang mag-parol o pardon? Pag nag-grant na, wala na. May record ka na, tol. Huwag ka nang umasa. Huwag ka na. Sa probation, diba? To be filed 15 days after conviction. Within 15 days, tropa. Within 15 days. Okay. Kailangan ba minor offense lang, sir, para mag-grant ng parol? Hindi naman. Robbery ba? Minor offense ba yan? Diba? Homicide nga. Pwede malagyan ng parol yan. Homicide. Minor ba yung homicide? Yan. May may yung parol nyo. Baka umilaw yan eh. Pag walang Okay, pero pag sa criminal law, doon sa sa may evidence, tama lang na yan, parol lang yan. Pag sa mga evidence, ayan, parol. Drug lord, sir, pwede sa parol, hindi. Huwag ka nang umasa. Yan, huwag ka nang aasa kapag sa mga drug lord. Huwag na. Yan ha. Maliwanag na tayo dito, mga chipapi. Okay. Mga sabog. Okay, so alpha sa 151. Yan. Next, a kind of executive clemency which exempt individual within certain limit or condition from the punish of law inflicts from offense he has committed resulting from partial extinction of his criminal liability Ano sagot? Yun. Very good. That is a conditional pardon. Galing nyo ha. Ito. A pardon by the President of the Republic of the Philippines shall be extended when? O, kailan? When? O, kailan? Before prosecution of action. Ito kay ano to eh. Kay offended party to eh. 'Di ba? Kay ano to? Kay pardon by offended party to. Yan. So tanggal. After filing complaint, formation, upon discretion. Ayun, after conviction of final judgment. Okay, after conviction of final judgment. Loy. On executive clemency, sir, wait lang ha. Sir, pag po yung penalty sentence reducing long term into short term commutation, tama. Tama ka. From long term to short term, that is a commutation of sentence. Tama ka, tropa. Isa kang malupit na nilalang sa mundo. Tama yan. Okay? One, basta tatandaan pag commutation, mag-research na kayo ng mga iba't ibang salita ng pagpapababa. Okay? So, baka mamaya, gamitan kayo ng ng tawag dito. Ano bang term na ginamit na yan? Yan? Bang term yun? Yan. Wait lang ha. Ano mo yun? Tawag dun? Lessen, shorten. Pag ginamitan kayo na ng term di ng chin. Pag chin. Baka gamitan kayo ng term ng chin ha. Mag-ingat kayo dyan. Baba na talaga. Okay. Hindi dyan nila. Yan. Taporin na natin pati yan. Okay. So, basta bahala na kayo kung ano yung mga salitang pagpapababa. Okay. Ito descendant naman. Patay tayo dito. Okay. So, banatan natin to. Ayan, mga mitigator. Ito na nga. Sige na, seryoso na. Tandaan nyo, mga term na pagpapababa, Dr. Calms na lang. Dr. Calms. Yan. Ito yung ginagamit ko kahit na nag-aaral pa lang din ako. Spaghetti na yan, tol. Spaghetti pababa. Okay. Ito ang term na common ginagamit ha. Makinig ha. Deduction. Yan. Ang common na ginagamit ng examiner dyan, deduction. Letter D, deduction. R, reduction. Commute. Tapos alter. Alam niyo naman pag sinabing alter, di ba? Ano yung alter? Change. Yan. Lowering. Lower or less. Lessening. Mitigate. And shorter. Yan, shortening. Iba na yung eradicate. Iba na yan at burahin na yan to. Patay tayo sa'yo. Ayan, decrease. Ayan. So mamaya may tanong ako dito na na tungkol kay dito. Kay commutation sentence. Okay. So 154. Yan, executive clemency, petition filed by prisoner should be addressed to whom? Oy, executive clemency. Kanino to? Ayun, pinagandaan talaga oh. Kanino? Kay President of the Republic of the Philippines. O, diba? Next. Who shall endorse and who shall endorse the BPP? Petition for absolute pardon or conditional pardon in case of crimes against national security. Ayun, the DND. Okay, galing ah. Lalakas ah. Any willful, malicious concealing material information made by the client either before or after the grant of the conditional pardon, that is a ground for the BPP2. Yan, very good. Kapag may tinanong kong mga impormasyon, may kinonceal ka, then that is a ground for cancel the parole or recommend the revocation of the conditional pardon. Next, all except one are the instances wherein supervision of parole and conditional pardon case deemed to archive or close. Sarado na. Kailan natin tatapusin? OAR issued by the BPP against the client. OAR, order of arrest, sarado na yun, no ba? Check na yun. Ang hinaano natin, hindi pa sarado eh. Certificate of Transfer of Residence. Upon receipt Certificate of FRD of the client, tama. Certificate of True Copy of Death Certificate, tama. So, ano ang hindi? Yung lumipat lang ng bahay. Okay, lumipat lang ng bahay yan eh. Diba? Okay. Next. The power of the Chief Executive to grant aning FRD, final release and discharge. Ito yun, no? Yan, Certificate of Final Release and discharge. Yan. Final release and discharge po yan. 158. The power of Chief Executive to grant pardon is limited to the following except pardon cannot be extended to the cases of impeachment. Tama naman. Okay? No pardon, parole or suspension of sentence for violation of any election law may be granted without favor recommendation of the COMELEC. Tama po yan. Pardon is exercised only after conviction. Tama. Pardon is administered by the court. Ay, mayan, mali. Walang pakialam si korte sa pardon ng presidente. Okay? So, delta yan, delta. Next. Pardon can extend to any of the following cases except ang hinahanap. May pardon ba sa karnaping? Yes. May pardon sa estapa? Yes. May pardon sa parricide? Yes. Saan lang wala? Impeachment. Eh bakit wala? Anong meron? Bakit wala? Sige nga. Anong dahilan? Bakit hindi pwede? Oh, political. Nagmodus. Anong amnesty? Patay? Wala na. Patay. Wala na. GG. Wala. Ito, public trust pa to. Wala rin. Wala. Anong botohan? Case pa lang? Okay. Ito yung paliwanag yan. Because impeachment is an administrative case. Yan, administrative case. Ang meron na sa pardon, all criminal case, all criminal case. Yan. Anong gusto mong tanong? Kasama pare sa isa pardon? Yes. Kahit sandaan pa pinatay niyan? Yes. Pag pinardon na presidente yan? Yes. Yan. Wala kang magagawa. Kapangyarihan niya yan. Anong paano? Anong paano, sir? Anong paano yun? Basta lahat ng crime. Amnesty, sir. Pwede admin case. Admin case. Criminal and civil lang. Yan, criminal civil. Parricide. Ano? Oh. Pwede nga yung sa pardon yung parricide. Yung pamilya ni ni side. Lahat yan tol, pwede yan sa pardon. Yan, lahat yan pwede. Crimes against national security, pwede. Pero may provided. Yan, provided. May provided, ano yung provided? Provided kapag crimes against national security, ay yun, recommendation ni DND. Okay. Eto, murder. Kinumit ni police. Okay. Anong gagawin natin dito sa ano na to? Police. Okay. Pardon siya. Absolute pardon. Yan, tama tol. Pag hindi nakaabot sa parol, pwede sa pardon. Depende kung pagbibigyan tayo ng presidente. Yan. Si I don't care. Yan, pwede bigyan yan. Pardon. Pero still, may admin case siya. Okay, pardon. Hindi naman kayo. Kaya iniiwasan ko yung mga politika na yan. Eh. Basta ako, ang presidente ko si Rastaman. Ice baby. Yan, the maximum term of office of the chairman of the BPP. Yan, ano sagot? Ayun, no? 6 years. Yun nga, yun, no? 6 years. Yan, 6 years without, anong kasunod? Yun, 6 years without prejudice or appointment. Ito, pagtanong sa board, sir, amnesty, hindi pa din pwede pag-impeachment. Gagawin natin, admin case to eh. And pagtanong sa board, sir, amnesty, hindi pa din pwede. Hindi pwede. Hindi. Ang kaya lang ni amnesty, yung kaso mo, wala. Patanggal yung kaso mo, tapos yung kanyang civil liability. Okay? Hindi pwede. Ibang usapan yung admin case. May case na ganyan, hindi ko lang alam kasi nung time na recitation namin sa law school, ang ang recitation namin dyan, sino ba yun? May case dyan eh. Yung kay former Ferdinand Marcos. May nang hostage, ilan sila Nasabi yung mga kaso nila ipawalang sala sila. Ginawa naman na pawalang sala. Pero ang isa sa malupit doon, nung pagkatapos ng hostage negotiation, yung case naman niya na ng hostage, doon siya tinira. Okay? So may ganun nangyari. Yan, even sa sa kanyang admin cases, doon din sila tinira sa admin. Okay? Doon, 'di ba? Kasi iba naman ang procedure ng admin case eh. No? Yan. Sir, pwede bang bawiin ang pardon kapag iba na ang presidente? Absolute? Hindi na tol, hindi. Hindi na. Absolute na nga eh. Unless na lang nag-violate ka ng unless na lang kapag nag-violate ka ng tawag dito, condition mo, yung pag-conditional pardon, dadaliin ka. Yan. Ayan, ito. Ito, sabi ni Michael, sir, yung double murder po ba doon sa mag-ina Pwede po bang i-pardon? Okay, ang tanong natin, convicted ba siya? Diba? Convicted ba yon? Convicted na ba yon? Convicted? Okay. Kung convicted siya, then pwedeng bigyan ng pardon yan. Diba? Ganun kalupit ang pardon. Yan, ganun kalupit ang pardon. Kahit 50 pa. Kahit nga sa Mindanao, pag binigyan ng presidente ng pardon yan, wala kayong magagawa. Yan. Robin Padilla, yan, nabigyan ng pardon yan, di ba? Yan, di ba? Ito na lang, Gian. Pag absolute pardon, malaya ka. Di ba? Malaya ka. Para kang wala kang boyfriend, walang girlfriend. Malaya ka. Magagawa mo ang lahat. Pero pag conditional pardon, sasabihin ng boyfriend mo, bakit ganyan suot mo? Bawal yan. Di ba? Ang daming mga ang daming mga cheche boreche, di ba? Pag ganun, bawal yan. Yan. Sir, ba't pala pwede kumandidato si Robin Padilla? Kasi nga, binigyan ng absolute pardon si Robin Padilla. Absolute pardon na binigay ni President. Ganon yun. Sa pardon, sir, nabubura ba hindi nabubura ang criminal record. Hindi nabubura. Confidential yun. Okay? Yan. Eto, may nagtanong. Patay tayo dito. Ground for impeachment po ba yan, sir, kapag binigyan mo ng pardon kahit karumal-dumal? Pang-abogado na to. Pang-abogado ka na, ha? Kapapi ka. Baka po sa mapunta to. Baka mamaya, pati presidente, ayoko sumagot ng ganyan. Okay? Ang mga grounds ng alam ko parang 8 yun eh. Diba? May betrayal of public trust, mga ganon, diba? Pero ayoko nang sagutin yung tanong kasi iba mapupunta niyan sigurado. Politika yan. Okay, sige. So much for that. Doon lang kayo sa magaan muna sa pardon, absolute. Basta pag absolute, walang kondisyon. Malaya kang gawin yan. Pero kapag conditional pardon, makakadena ka. Nakakadena ka para kang aso doon. Pag sinabi ng presidente doon, huwag kang tatakbo ng pagka-presidente, hindi ka makakatakbo dyan. Tandaan yan. Basta kung ano nasa. Kaya nga may nangyayari, ito yung isang congressman na ng rape noon, nabigyan ng conditional pardon. So, yan, may condition, hindi siya makatakbo-takbo. Kaya ngayon, naghihintay siya na mabigyan siya ng absolute pardon. Para pag nabigyan siya ng absolute pardon, mawala yung yung kanyang criminal liability. Para total extinguishment yun. Diba? Ganong kalupit yan. Tropa. Okay, so yan. How long the term of office? Okay. How long term of office of member of the BPP? How long the term of office of the member of the BPP? Ayun, 6 years without prejudice to reappointment. Okay. The following are the goals of correction, community correction exempt. Yan. Ano yung mga goal niyan? Alin yung exempt? Facilitating offenders reintegration. Okay, check. Fostering offenders rehabilitation, check. Harboring offender criminal, ibig sabihin, wag na natin ipawalang wag na natin siya yung yung bigatan. Sige, na natin yan, i-charge na natin sa atin yan. Okay? Letter D. Okay, the answer is letter D. Ibig sabihin, pataasin mo ang pananagutan ng tao. Hindi natin ginagawa yan. Hindi natin pinapansin pananagutan ng tao. Letter delta. Heightening offenders accountability. It is a temporary, temporary stay of execution. Yan. Of sentence. Sagot natin dyan. That is reprieve. Very good. Ang galing ha. Reprieve. Ang galing. Alam niyo yung amnesty? Pag amnesty, ano to? Individual, grupo. Amnesty. Group. Okay. Sige. The reception of absolute pardon is blank from civil liability. Bayad ba siya? Bayad? Bayad ka. Not exempted ka. Saan ka lang exempted? Exempt ka lang sa criminal liability but not the civil liability. Bayad ka. May nangyari ng case niyan kay former President Erap Estrada. Diba? Nabigyan siya ng absolute pardon. Okay? At nagbayad siya. Parang 80 million atin, 80 million ang binayaran niya. Next, the form of executive clemency which reduce the sentence of convicted person shorter term. Ayun, commutation of sentence. Yes, ang kaso ni former President Joseph Estrada is a plunder. Yes, plunder. Yan. Ang tanong mga chupapi, di ba? Di ba noong time na si President Joseph Estrada, di ba siya, yung presidente siya, di ba? Bakit pina-impeach siya? Hindi na lang kasuhan ng plunder kagad. Bakit pina-impeach muna siya bago kasuhan ng plunder? Anong dahilan? Anong dahilan? Ayun, because there is an immunity. Okay? Para matanggal yung yung immunity niyan, he must be impeached, removed from the seat being a president, and after na ma-remove siya, then doon ngayon sinampahan ng kaso ng plunder. May nagtanong, bakit siya nakatakbo? Okay, may ganito, may cases yan. In the case of the former President Joseph Estrada, nakalagay sa unang whereas Joseph Ejercito Estrada cannot run from any government offices. So sa unang portion nakikita niyo para siyang conditional pardon. But pagdating sa pinakahuling whereas all his right shall be restored. Okay? Nagkaroon ngayon ng conflict yung first paragraph versus sa last paragraph. Okay? Sabi ng Supreme Court, kung ano ang huling sinabi, yun ang mas mananaig. The last paragraph or sentence shall always be prevailed. So ano yung last paragraph niya? All right shall be restored. Kaya dining-dinig yan, consider absolute pardon, kaya nakatakbo si former President Erap bilang mayor. 'Di ba? Naging mayor pa ng Manila 'yan. 'Di ba? Tsaka tumakbo pa na pagkapangulo, 'di ba? Pagkapangulo, pagka-vice atin, pangulo. Di ko alam kung ano tinakbo nung nakaraan. Okay, so kuha natin. Yan, mismo. Ganyan ang ginawa niya dito. Okay? So, yan, tuloy na natin. Yan, which of the following is not total extinguish? Yan, not a total extinguishment of criminal liability. Oh, wala na, GG. Ang amnesty, total extinguishment of criminal liability. Ang pardon, total extinguishment of criminal liability. Ang probation is a total extinguishment of criminal liability. Alin ang hindi? Ayun, parole. Because parole is just a partial extinguishment of criminal liability. Partial lang siya. Okay? So take note probation, tanggal ang kanyang criminal liability. Unlike sa parole, partial extinguishment siya. Kasi pwede pa rin maibalik kung gagawa ng krimen. Ayun. Okay, ito, 67. The purpose of all executive clemency such as a pardon, amnesty, commutation of sentence is to do away with the miscarriage of justice, okay? Break the rigidity of the law. Restore the political and civil rights of the... Ito para saan to? Ito para kay amnesty. Para kay amnesty. Ito naman para kay commutation of sentence. Tapos, ito naman ay para kay pardon. So the answer is all of the above. And all of the above. Next. The quasi-judicial body which was created under Act number 4103 or ISLAW, the agency that grant parole to any priest is qualified to enjoy its benefit refers to o nag-grant ng parole, ayun, Board of Pardons and Parole. Gagaling na. Hindi na kayo na hindi na kayo na dilito diyan next. It is authority of the President of the Republic to suspend the execution of penalty, reduce the sentence, extinguish criminal liability. Sagot natin dyan. Very good. That is an executive clemency. Okay? So, next. Pursuant to 1987 Philippine Constitution, Article 7, Section 19, pardon cannot be extended to one of the following instance. Pwede ba murder? Ito na yung tinatanong nyo kanina. Pwede ba murder? Pwede sa pardon yan. Robbery with homicide? Pwede sa pardon yan. Rape and arson? Pwede sa pardon yan. Ano ang hindi pwede? Ang impeachment case. Next. This privilege, such as parole, pardon, is exercised when the person is, kailan daw binibigyan? Already convicted, serving sentence, about to convict, serve the sentence. That is, tingnan natin. Already convicted. Very good. Already convicted. Ang gagaling. Pursuant to Article 7, Section 10, Paragraph B of the 1987 Philippine Constitution, the pardoning power is vested to what branch of the Philippines? What branch? Yan. Ayun, very good. That is executive branch. Okay. Patay. Okay, executive branch. Ato, an amnesty to be granted by the President shall be given with the concurrence of majority of the Congress. Very good. Ang galing Okay. The parole is granted by the quasi-judicial body under the DOJ. The term quasi-judicial body that grant conditional release refers to? Ano tinutukoy natin dito? Ay, may keyword nyo, parole. Board of Pardons and Parole. Next. The Parole and Probation Administration administered a blank of correcting programs. Tanggal na ang institutional, therapeutic, traditional, then let's go for the community base. Okay, community base. So, next, a minimum and maximum amount of time to be served in prison. Yon ang galing. Indeterminate. Very good. Yan. Diba? Mga halimaw na kayo, diba? Pag nakita nyo lang yung tanong, di ba? A pardon granted by the chief executive as a benefits of the following. Ay, yan ang sinasabi ko. Yan. Tinatanong benefits, oh. May pakinabang, tol. May pakinabang daw. So, ano yun? Dapat may pakinabang. Teka lang. Wait lang. Analyze mo muna yan. Analyze. Okay, sige. Banat. Alin dito yung benefits? Yan. Eto ba? Benepisyo niya? Hindi. Tanggal na. Kaya wala na yung all of the above nyo. Okay. Does not extinguish civil liability. Benefits yun? Hindi tinanggal. Benefits, wala. Tanggal yan. Ayan lang ang benepisyo sa kanya. Extinguish criminal liability of the offender. Okay. So, yan ha. Isa na naman kayo na disgrasya. Sayang. Akala ko okay na sana. Yung pala hindi pa. Okay. The concept of probation from the Latin word probare, which means and has historical root in the practice of judicial reprieve. Probare, ayun, that is it, to test or to prove. Ano tong testing period? Para saan to? Probasyo. Okay. Okay, tanggal na. So, sige, tuloy tayo. The executive clemency the executive clemencies, probation and parole is a form of what category of correction? Anong category ng correction yan? Yan, tanggal na ang volunteerism, instead, dalawa na lang. Ano kaya yan? Tignan nga natin. Yun! That is a non-institutional corrections. Okay, hindi naman tinatanong yung program, kaya tanggal ang program. Okay? So, non-institutional corrections. Next, what is an act of grace? Proceeding from the power trusted with the execution of law, which is exempt the individual on whom it bestow from the punishment that law inflict for crime has committed. Ay, yun, no? Grabe na to. That is an executive clemency. Yan, very good. It is the extinction. Ano yung extinction? Tanggalin, eliminate, no? Extinct means eliminate. The criminal liability of an individual to granted without condition. O, sagot! Ayun, absolute pardon. Galing, ha? Eto kaya. An act of sovereign oblivion, general pardon, classes of person, political character. Ayun, very good. That is a amnesty. Very good. Ang galing, ha? O, eto. Mr. CHAPS is a death convict and he will or be executed next week. To avoid execution, he must ask the president for the act of grace. Then the chief executive ordered the postponement of execution. What form of executive clemency given by president to Mr. CHAPS? Sige nga. Letter A. Tingnan natin. Death convict ordered. Ay, yun, keyword pala, postponement, oh. Iyon. So, ang sagot natin dyan, that is a reprieve. Okay? It is a method which is less costly than confinement. Less costly than confinement. Ano mas mura? Tanggal ang state, tanggal ang insti, Tanggal ang government ay yun. Community-based correction. Next. Which court began to grant reprieve to prisoner under sentence of death pero ang purpose is magpa-deport siya? Ayan. English or England. Okay? That is an English court. Kasi court ang hanap eh. So court. English court. Next. In determining the fitness of prisoner for release on conditional pardon, the following points shall be considered as guide except. Kailangan ba i-check natin? At kailangan ba disregard natin? Ano mang kulay siya? Pula, pink, blue. Okay. Dapat mas pagtuunan natin yung kanyang attitude toward people in community. Yes. Ano pa? Background of prisoner before the commitment? Yes, kasama. Financial capacity? Wala tayong pakialam sa pera niya. Okay, wala tayong pakialam sa pera niyan. Tuloy natin. This word simply means to make back. Withdrawing of sentence for an interval of time. Sagot ay yun, reprieve. Yan, reprieve. Next. A kind of executive clemency given by the President to which a penalty be deferred subject to review of the Supreme, especially in death penalty. Ayun ang ginamit examen, no? Deferred. Sabi ng deferred, dyan ka lang muna. Stay ka lang yan, deferred. Okay, reprieve. O, di ba? Alain nyo, ginamita kayo ng ganyang term. Next, what branch of the government sole authority to exercise pardon? Ayun, very good. Executive branch. Kasi branch ang tinatanong. Number 190. Who are the usual beneficiaries of amnesty? Basic yan. Ayan, political offender. Very good. Okay. So next, what is the extinction of criminal liability of individual to mean is granted without condition? Ayun, absolute pardon. What is an act of grace granted by the chief executive who exempt the convicted prisoner from suffering any criminal liability? Ayun, very good. Oh. Galing. Oh. Okay, sagot natin pardon. Very good. Ito kaya, ay wala pa. Who shall appoint provincial city probation officer? Ayun, very good. Secretary of Justice. Very good, ah. Wala, inyo pati ba naman nasagutan nyo rin? Ito. What portion of the sentence of a petitioner must have been served to be eligible for the grant of commutation of sentence in case of definite sentence? Ano kaya sagot natin dito? Ano tong ano? At least 1/2 of the maximum of the indeterminate sentence. Tanggal na yan. Okay, tanggal na to. Tanggal na to. Para saan ba to? Sa pardon to, di ba? Nasa pardon. If in case na ano? Anong issue? Heinous crime. Okay. At least 1/2 of the minimum, at least 1/2 of the minimum of indeterminate. Ito naman yung para sa ano? Sa mga indeterminate sentence, no? Pardon. Pardon for indeterminate sentence or determinate. Next, letter C. at least 1/3 of the minimum of indeterminate sentence ay tama yan, Charlie. Okay, Charlie and mga tropa, Charlie. Okay? So, next, ito tandaan nyo, oh. Yan. Yan. Tandaan nyo to. Yan, litratuhan nyo to, guys. Ilagay nyo yan sa notes nyo. Ayun yung bagong updated yan, updated. Bago na updated pa yun, no? Yan. Next. Ito. Sige nga. The constitutional reduction of imprisonment. May nagkamali pa din. Kahit kaya talaga eh. Na nga, oh. Constitutional na nga. Oh. Wala talaga eh. Wala. GG to tol. Wala na. Naglolokan tayo ng pag ganito. Tanggal na parole, release, tanggal na. Diba, sabi ko na sa inyo, pag GCTA, statutory reduction. Diba? Oh, ano sagot natin dyan? Commutation of sentence. Okay, wag kayong makulit ha. Yan, para hindi nakakalimutan tinuturo. Next. What agency has the authority to recommend to the President the release of qualified prisoner for the parole, conditional pardon, and other forms of executive clemency? Sagot ay yun, the Board of Pardons and Parole. Yun, lalakas na. The following are example of executive clemency which alter. Ibig sabihin yan, change death to life. Ang sagot natin dyan, you know, yan, commutation of sentence. Next, a person provide bail money, tao, para nag-iisa lang naman ata yung ano dyan, yung tao, no? Bondsman yan to. That is a bondsman. Okay? O, ito. What kind of the following document, kanina pinag-aralan natin to ha, are required to support a petition for absolute pardon? Yan. Tama ba yung affidavit at least to responsible resident? Tama yan. Clearance from police, tama din. So, ano sagot natin dyan? 1 and 2. O, diba? Kung alam nyo, pinag-aaralan nyo. And the last one, the former President Benigno Simeon Cuangco Aquino III granted amnesty to those who are involved and support the following incidents such as Oakwood Mutiny on July 27, 2003, Marine Standoff on February 2006, and Manila Pen Incident on November 29, 2007. What presidential proclamation issued by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte declared that it should be void ab initio? Ano ang sagot natin dyan? Sige nga, anong sagot natin? Ayun, proclamation number 572. Okay. So, ayan yun, ha? So, okay ba kayo? Okay lang ba kayo? Okay ba kayo? Okay ba kayo? Yan, very good.